and good morning. I wanted you to appreciate this beautiful low-laying morning cloud and fog. It's almost completely thinned out now, but it was pretty thick when I woke up. But I was able to capture some of it in the sunrise here. We're going to talk about nature today. Oh man, it's so bright. Let me let me get down to the road here. Okay. All right. Okay, we're good. So yeah, you can see in the distance there, the fog's even laying on the road. So we'll walk this way for just a minute and let you appreciate how pretty this is. East Tennessee sure does have some of the most beautiful natural environments. Like, this is why they call it the Smoky Mountains. I don't know how well you can see it way yonder, but you can see how the fog is underneath the tree line, all along the horizon there. And it's just so pretty. And this is what I like to get to show people on my camping trip, but unfortunately we gotta wait till next year for that. So today I want to talk about nature, but not in the way of like talking about deers and bears and forests and stuff. I want to talk about embracing nature, but embracing the nature of man. Last week, I talked to you about how to speak to your friends, family, and loved ones. They're important. They're very important to you, even if you don't get along, because they're not replaceable. You can't replace your natural support family and friends, the people you grew up with, the people who know you intimately. You can't replace that. So you have to nurture it. Now, I want to talk about the nature of what it is to be mother, father, brother, sister, etc. Most people, from my experience anyway, around here, they don't have the capacity or the will to want to engage in truly heroic, narrative shifting, cultural shifting things. I don't think that that's in the nature of most men. I think we live in a very cursed era where the few of us who do have that impulse are guided towards things like video games, fake jingoistic nationalist identities, and we get wrapped up in the anti-white meat grinder that just kills white men for Israel. Like, there are very few guiding beacons for the moral men with heroic compunction to organize and to find leadership and to find the skills they need to actually fight against this evil anti-white narrative and all of the disgusting people that want to ruin all of this. There are not many places that are evident, that are big or bold or noticeable, that call to those men, because our cursed civilization only has surrogates. It only has proxies. And without being led by real men, without having any kind of real leadership or real church that matters, or any type of real religion that matters, you have the best and the most driven and the most heroic of our young men having that impulse and that nature of theirs squandered and misdirected, or some could even say subverted. So, most men, though, and that, I mean women too when I say that. I mean it as mankind when I say most men. Most people are not of the heroic nature. They are normal. Normal people want to be safe. They want to know that what they're doing is good enough to contribute to their little tiny experience of life. They care about making a nice little garden, about keeping a family scrapbook. They care about doing what's right in accordance to their few peers they might have at work and church. They care about making the life of themselves, their husband, their wife, or them, I should say himself. But these people care about making themselves safe, comfortable, and they want to see their lives reflected back at them by the few people around them. It is in the nature of man, at least our people, white people here in the West, to only want to care about family and what's immediately around them. You can't make them different. No amount of horror stories you show them in the news, No amount of government lies or false history that you can prove changes that. I've tried that for years with people here. Doesn't matter. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to think about it. And I used to think it was because they were all cowards. And maybe that is true if you're being like an elitist prick about it. But it will be like saying, being angry at regular people for being cowards is like being angry at a herd of cows or horses for not having a literature degree. It's not in them to do it. And I don't think that it's in normal people around here to do it, to care. They just don't have it in them. It's the people like you and I who are switched on and want to fight this war and want to win this war. There's something genetically or spiritually different switched on in us that most people don't have. They lack it. And so you need to keep that in mind. The nature of man is to be safe, try to do what's right, to make himself feel good by the few people around him. He wants to care about his wife, his kids, his progeny, his farm, his little business that he runs. And if you want to look at the woman's side of it, women care about even smaller world than that. They care about self. They care about self-safety. They care about I don't want to say aggrandizement, but women need to feel special and kept safe, and they crave a knight in shining armor, a daddy, a man to protect them and make them feel special. And that is all that most people can manifest. They can't have more than that. Despite me thinking differently for years and years and years, I don't think that's the case anymore. I have worked with people, hundreds of people, over the last decade, trying to network with local community to get people involved to fight against all kinds of stuff, anti-white stuff, gun control bullshit. And the vast majority of people, when you confront them with facts, when you talk to them about the problems we face, if they're genuine and they don't feel like they're going to get in trouble for saying it, they'll agree with us. But they still can't do it. So that tells me that they literally can't. It's not a matter of won't. It's a matter of can't. They don't have it in them. I don't think they have it in them. And so you need to keep that in mind when dealing with friends and family during the holiday season. And the reason I'm talking about this today is it was discovering this and making my peace with this is a big reason why I'm able to have a functional relationship with the people in my family and my friend group again. Is because I realized they can't. And I let it go. And I made my peace with it. And if you're like me, and you get fiery about this, and it causes a bone of contention between your loved ones and your friends, or even people at church, then maybe this video is for you too. You have to make your peace with the things you can't change. I talk to a lot of online people that are lonely, that don't have a lot of friends and family. Some of them have none. And they are wound up, cranked, autistic, spurred, 24/7. We have to stop the anti-whites. We got to fight the Jews. We got to fight the immigrants. We got to do this and this and this and this and this. And they shout it from the rooftops 24/7. They don't have any friends and they're alone, maybe for a reason, right? It doesn't appeal to a normal person to be like that. Some of us are like that. I think, unfortunately, I'm like that. And I just have to learn to deal with it. I can't stop thinking about this stuff. I think about it every day. I can't stop. My mind obsesses over all of this war shit. I wish I wasn't like that. I wish I wasn't cursed with this. And maybe you're like that too. But you need to realize the vast majority of people, good people, are not like that. They want to do what's right by their peers, by their God, and they want to live a comfortable, safe life and not rock the boat. Even if the boat's being rocked on them. That's just the truth of it, man. Unfortunately, that's the nature of man. And if you want to influence people that are normal, regular people, mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, all this stuff, regular people that make life what it is, that make life livable, you're going to have to temper your your fire, your fervor, if you want them to respond positively to you. I learned that very late. I believed in my passion and in the truth, and I thought that if I was bold enough and hard enough, I would convince and sway people. But I wasn't. And I don't think that's my failure. I don't really think that it's failure at all. I think that's just the nature of man. I'm sure that genetics has something to do with it. If for, the 100 years of the Brother War period, 1850 to 1950, if the War of Northern Aggression and both the Great Wars and all the interstitial wars during that period, it exhausted our gene pool of the brightest and, not brightest, but of the most courageous with the hottest fire and that spark to fight, to that masculine energy that is so necessary to defeat evil. Those ancestors of ours were exsanguinated on purpose. They were sacrificed on the anti-white altar of Moloch for this. I think that was part of it. Of course, I speak in metaphor. I don't really believe that's true, but you get my meaning from that. So, I do think there's a genetic component to this, but there's also a cultural component of comfort. Back in the Roman Empire, we have the phrase bread and circuses for a reason, don't we? Cable TV, smartphones, internet, podcasts, DoorDash, everything on delivery, touch of a button, everything's easy, air conditioning, climate control. The people that live today, we are so, by comparison to even less than 100 years ago, but especially in comparison to ancestors of old, we live like luxury pets. Who is our keeper then? Makes me wonder sometimes. I wonder how much of this is just chaos engine and how much of this is purposeful. But because I have a very pattern-oriented mind, I always, of course, see conspiracy. And I have to temper that because I know it's not always. I know. But it really does make me wonder if somewhere along the line, like 100, 150 years ago, something changed in the nature of who leads us. And they said, hey, why don't we just make all these people like farm animals and pets? And they didn't mean that as a snide comment like a noble from 400 years ago. They meant it like a bureaucratic scientist. And they thought, wouldn't it be better if we could just make all of these people like, cute little obedient luxury dogs and just give them cute toys to play with? And we're going to breed them so they're tiny and cute and docile and don't threaten us. So we can just, make them run on the wheel or make them go fetch the ball and we don't have any fear from them at all. I wonder how much of that is real. Me and Chris have covered the Fabians and other Marxists and people, so I know there's a little bit of truth to that. But I wonder how much of that is why we are in the state that we're in. And how much of it is just the course of things, chaos engine, just how things ended up. I don't know. But anyway, I think I've rambled long enough. Just remember that it is in the nature of man to not want to be a big damn hero, but to be a tiny hero. That's it. That's where most people are. That's the biggest they'll ever get. You have to keep that in mind. And most importantly, I'm telling you, I needed to hear this when I was younger too. The world doesn't rest on your shoulders. It doesn't rest on mine. You have to make your peace with not being able to enact big change in the people around you. We all are just making tiny pushes in the direction that we want, and that's all that we can do, really. Maybe 1 in a million of us will do something bigger than that, but we all need to keep pushing. Millions of tiny little hands pushing this boulder. That's pretty much the best that a regular person like me and you can do. So live the best life you can. Speak as much truth as you can, but do it peacefully and confidently in a way that is not going to chase the important people in your life away. I made those mistakes. Please don't make those mistakes. It hurt me and it'll hurt you. So learn from my mistakes and have a great holiday season, everybody. Love your kin. Celebrate life. You've only got so much of it. You need to make it good. Even if that means, swallowing your pride, putting your autism to the side. and just meeting people on the ground that they're on. I've had to learn that the hard way, and I wanted to share that with you since the holidays are coming up. Y'all have a great week, and I'll be back Thursday night with Chris for some more Empire of Lies or Gulag Cafe. God bless.